I remember a time of which my mother told me. A time almost as far back as any memory can go. 1896. Heavens, what a span of donkey's years ago. A time horse-drawn and crossing-swept, with the dignity and decorum set off by all the glory that milliners could devise. 1896. When memory and our own times had their beginning, when a century and a reign were approaching their end. Their carriage arriving at the garden party, an old lady being assisted from it. The Queen, Victoria Regina. Long may she continue to reign. A change of reel and, oh, what's this? Top hats at a funeral. The passing of William Ewart Gladstone. The man the Queen had liked so much less than dear Mr. Disraeli. And something even more exciting. Soldiers riding across the African veldt, the Boer War. Shadows on the screen, but to you, it was Ladysmith, Colenso, the relief of Mafeking, soldiers of the Queen, my lad, goodbye Dolly Gray, boots, boots, marching up and down again. It was Duet, Kruger, and a pressman named Winston Churchill escaping from the Boers. £25 reward, dead or alive. How many thousand horse and foot leaving the Table Bay? Each volunteer a thrill to the heart of every little cap and apron servant girl. The brave, the great, the famous. Even in the changing world of 1900, adventure could still be found for the asking. If you grew weary of pushing a clerk's pen or swinging a navvy's pick, you could still find, plenty of adventure under the sun. For instance, there was still the air to conquer. As yet, only balloons and airships had risen into that element. But though the first heavy of an air machine had yet to take off, progress was such that already flying was considered safe for ladies. In moderation, of course. Highly instructive, in fact. Plenty of adventure under the sun. You could still run away to sea and go round the Horn in a windjammer. To anyone wanting excitement, the trip could offer plenty. And on ships like this, if you had problems of personal timidity, a rope's end from the mate soon put an end to those. Work as you'd never worked before. Slave your way to new lands where opportunity knocked, to find gold nuggets or a pauper's grave. The price of the passage was still the same. Plenty of adventure under the sun. You could still be first at the North Pole or the South, for there no man had yet trod. Only you'd have to make the journey on your own feet and with your own sweat, and no one would know about it until you got back, if you ever did. For those seeking isolation, there remain plenty of places where you could be alone, in the silent wilderness of nature, out of touch with all men. Get rich quick. You could still plant a stake on a diamond or a gold field, but you had to be tough enough to defend it against all comers. Nowadays it's football pools. You could still be first to conquer any one of 100 virgin peaks, from the Matterhorn to Everest. Room and scope up there for a stout heart and a strong rope. Plenty of adventure under the sun. Seek oil or a pharaoh's tomb, and what's more, probably find it. For then the odds were more favorable, the competition less. Still strange and wonderful places to discover for science. Still people who had never seen a European, unspoiled and not yet tourist-minded. And if all else failed, well, there was always soldiering for the Queen. For in her service was adventure with some degree of security, as far as pay and food at any rate. Sweating it out in the Sudan, in Africa and India, defending the flag upon which the sun never sets, soldiers of the Queen. For closely entwined into Victoria's family tree were most of Europe's crowned heads, and any of them at any time were liable to be pruned down to size. Nicholas, Tsar of all the Russias, ruled over every kulak and mujik from St. Petersburg to Vladivostok. Yet even Nicholas was not immune from a scathing letter bearing the postmark Windsor Castle. In one country, however, her influence was less strong. For since Napoleon III had been exiled to Britain, France had been a republic. Paris, at the turn of the century. And what a broad-beamed wealth of good living to be found there. The Paris of Offenbach, Renoir, Pasteur, Maxime's, and that Moulin Rouge, where, as like as not, you'd find the Prince of Wales, to Victoria's. The Paris of Rodin, Toulouse-Lautrec, and Émile Zola. The Paris, too, of Sarah Bernhardt, well and true as the queen of the world's theatre. Great days indeed for the arts. And, of course, the Paris then as now, a fashion center of the world. Such then was the elegance, imported or homemade, of the Victorian sunset. But even while the Queen still lived, there were signs of change. Signs of women breaking out of the prison of home and strict respectability. I ask you, mixed cycling. Oh, the country's going to the dogs. 6 at a time. What would the oldest among us recall best of the last century? Children's pleasures, most likely. Holidays by the seaside. The rides along the front on top of one of those new electric tram cars. Oh, the joyous speed of it. The trips on the paddle-wheeled steamers. So right for a child in a sailor hat with a whistle on a velvet string. So wrong for an Aunt Flo, forced to lift her skirts and display her ankles. The donkey rides. The sand castles, just like the Queen's Castle at Windsor. And what did they call them? Roller coasters or switchback railways. I'll talk to you about us, ladies and gentlemen. And when the car dropped, how a high collar could bite into the neck. The fairgrounds. Oh, Herbert, and Mother thinking I'm on the promenade listening to the band. Ladies do not at any time swing on swings. On Sunday, too. Agnes Smith, tonight at supper I shall speak to your father. Going to fairs, indeed. I pray you didn't let yourself be trapped into entering one of those disgraceful sideshows. Women in tights, doing absolutely unmentionable things. What next? What next? Sitting on hard benches before one of the first of those whirring cinematograph machines, seeing for a few pennies a miracle. What did it matter what was on the screen so long as it moved? And what did it matter either if sometimes the lettering on the picture was unaccountably back to front? All part of the miracle. What can be more modern than today? Especially when today is 1900. Think of it, the 20th century. The bustle and scurry of a century as fresh as a new pin. If other countries were anything like Britain, they were anthills indeed. For in the great industrial centres of the British Isles, trade and business had never looked better. With the whole world a customer for her goods, this was a land humming with activity. Trade and rustle, yet still sharp contrasts of class and wealth. For the labourer, a penny for the tram, though more often he walked and thought little of it. Factory workers, hardy fishermen and farmers, folks who still worked all the hours of the clock and still touched the forelock to their betters. A Britain at the peak of 100 years of prosperous expansion. Behind that Ascot elegance was a strength that no other nation could challenge. On the school maps of the world, there was more red than any other colour. A red like that of the Palace Guardsman, for it marked the expanses and extent of Queen Victoria's British Empire. From the snows of Kilimanjaro round the globe to Hong Kong, the wealth of Africa was the Queen's. The wool of her shawl came from Australia or New Zealand, for her men rode from Darwin to Sydney, Wallaroo to, yes, Queen Victoria Springs. For Victoria, they felled the timber of British Columbia and wide Saskatchewan. And woe betide any who broke her laws in the great Northwest, for there her Mounties always got their man. But then one day in 1901, they were soldiers of the Queen no longer. Even a century must reach its end, even a queen who had reigned for 63 years. Don the black and beat the drums, for the Queen was dead. The Queen who had been on the throne for so long that England could hardly credit her death. England wouldn't be the same without the Queen. Behind the gun carriage rode her son, Edward, and representatives of every kingdom in Europe. Europe wouldn't be the same without Victoria. And as at Windsor they bore the widow to her last resting place, there were many who wondered, fearful of change, unsure of the future, unsure of themselves. Yet, paradoxically enough, the reign of Victoria had known greater change in the world than any other 60 years in history. When Victoria was born in 1819, England was toll roads, coaches, and stand and deliver. Most of its tiny population still in the cottage, knowing only its village and living only on what it could itself produce. But even before the young princess mounted the throne, mud to cobbles. James Watt had watched a tea kettle, and that was the end of much, ground into oblivion by the power of steam. Stevenson, Brunel, and all aboard. Waterloo had shaped the Europe Victoria was born into, and war was to redraw its maps again and again before her passing. Crimea, Sebastopol, Lord Cardigan, and Florence Nightingale. Charged for the guns, they said. French Empire versus Prussian, Bismarck and Sedan. The French monarchy wanes, a new Germany is born, a united Italy created. Yet the strife was seldom Victoria's, so all the while her own realm prospered and swelled to 8 times its original size. Revolutions, new tyrannies, new freedoms. In North America, a war between states finally brought forth a new nation, fully united by the people for the people. The wagon trains rolled back the frontiers westward to the Rocky Mountains and beyond. Go west, young man, go west, to seek, find, and create. To release new wealth destined one day to outstrip even Victoria's. The potential was there, all that remained was moving forward. But the whole century was moving forward in communications, in science, and medicine, reason, and thought, and above all, in industry. Never had there been such expansion. Sprawling, messy, but where there's muck, there's money. At the end of her reign, Victoria saw a transformed world, and all around her were mighty monuments to those who had had vision and courage. A transformed world moving forward with ever-increasing speed. And yet, not the same without the Queen. Goodbye, Victoria. Farewell, a way of life, a state of mind. The Queen is dead. Long live the King. Thus, late in his life, the throne passed to Edward, Prince of Wales. His but 10 years, yet nobody could deny that he made the most of them. Then to his son George, who was to know the greatest war. Oh, but that's in the future. So Britain made ready for a coronation. A ceremony that at last happened so many years back that most people had forgotten how to crown a monarch. That was the coronation that began the era that the world now calls Edwardian. And that, too, was a time to be remembered. For as everybody knows, the Edwardian keynote was gaiety. A reaction against the stern, the "I am gravely displeased, drink your porter, Elizabeth, and earn your father's approval." Maybe. Or was it just a part of the inevitable progress? A change of social order a little delayed by a greatly loved but rather formidable old lady? Who knows?